Hello again, and welcome to the Northwest Georgia Playoff Preview Show. Right now, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Cavan, and me and him is going to lead it off here tonight.
Sounds good.
Uh, I'm sure Lawrence and the other guys will be on later. We got plenty to talk about. Round up some of last week's wins. We had some Saturday games last week, which we didn't have a chance to talk about yet. So I reckon we're just going to get into those. And what better game to get into than the game that you were at? I'm almost 100% certain.
Yes, sir.
The Trine Bulldogs beating the Social Circle Redskins, I believe, or whether the Indians, the Redskins, something like that. Anyway, 55-21. And I don't know if we can, how much longer they'll be called that, the way the days are going these days, but I won't get into that.
Exactly.
But 55-21, Rob Brown breaking the 400-yard mark, right? Again.
Yes, sir. 443.
Yeah, he's on a tear right now, better than anybody in the state, around the country.
Yes, he is.
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he is for real. It's amazing. I mean, I feel like the first 6 or 7 games of his season is being overshadowed by the last 4 or 5 games, and he's been phenomenal all year long. But what he's done these last 4 or 5 games, people forget. The kid still had over 1,000 yards and 15, 16, 17 touchdowns in the first 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the second half and his explosion, it's really not much different than what he's done all year. It's just finally getting more recognition.
Yep, I agree. And to comment, a little bit on the game, it was a good football game in the first half. It went about the way I expected. We ran the ball very well, and we had a hard time stopping the pass. They completed a couple long passes in the first half. They threw a couple of trick plays at us with some reverses and reverse passes and things like that, and had some success. And they kept it close for a half. But like it seems to go every week, and I'm sure at some point in time we're going to run up against a team who can kind of hang with it for 4 quarters. But that offensive line and Rob Brown, once you get in the third and fourth quarter, it just wires other teams out.
Yeah, I've yet to see. I don't know what they call it. I'll call it the wild dog because I don't know what they call it. But the power, I've yet to see anybody come close to stopping that. And,
they call it. I mean, they don't really call it anything, but yes, it would be the wildcat or the wild dog. But it's what they call their jumbo package.
Gotcha. And I mean, yeah, it's jumbo.
Yeah, it is.
The regular package is jumbo especially for any classification, but for single A, man, that's a big offensive line.
Well, it is. And like I say, I mean, at some point in time, we're going to run up against a team where we may have to step it up or do some things different or throw the ball a little more. But when you line up and you've got, everybody on the line of scrimmage and you're running back in the wildcat and the other team can't stop it, I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but I get a lot of pleasure out of watching those guys just line up and what's coming and they can't stop it.
Oh yeah, that's just demoralizing for a defensive player. Also saw where it looked like Rusty Manziel made a visit up to Trine this morning and visited with Rob Brown. That's awesome.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I had actually not even heard that yet. I had a busy day at work, worked a little late, so I did not even know that was the case.
Yeah, he was out on his Twitter this morning, and there was pictures with Rusty and Rob. That's big time. Anytime Rusty's in town, that means something's going on, something right's going on.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'll have to check that out when we get finished with the show here. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, well, I mean, and just a couple more comments about the game the other night. That game got real chippy late in the game. There were a lot of penalties, a lot of personal foul penalties. There was a lot of pushing and shoving. We had a scuffle happen at one point in time, and I'm not sure who's to blame for that. I'm not one that really likes to point a finger a lot of times because I know how emotions are and I know how things run high. But I don't want to be critical of the referees or the GHSA, but I felt like the referees lost control of that game. It got real serious there late in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter. I mean, there was a time there when I thought the benches were going to clear, and there were probably, and I'm estimating here, but I'm not overestimating. I wouldn't be surprised if there were 10 or 12 personal foul calls in that game.
Yeah, at some point, you got to draw the line, I would say, and start ejecting folks and say, hey, look, next time we get a personal foul, you're gone, regardless of the side. And I think it ends shortly after the first ejection. If not, then you're just totally going to spiral out of control.
I think that's the message that our coaches were trying to send. By the time it got real bad, it was late in the game, and the outcome was pretty much determined. Mm-hmm. And the message our coaches were trying to send was, hey, guys, those guys don't have anything to lose at this point. But
yeah, you can't
you guys have a game next week. Yep. So.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to fall into that trap. But I'll give you a little idea of what we saw today, or what I saw earlier today.
Oh, okay.
Boom. Yeah. Coach Patrick posted on his page a picture of him, and then Rusty said, thanks for having 247 Sports. Also, keep R.S. Gable straight up there, and I believe the comment was, I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know if it's possible either, but I know Rune and Rusty are from about the same generation there. I think Rusty played at Purple in the early 90s, and Rune was quarterback at Trine in the early 90s, so I'm pretty sure those guys go way back.
Yeah, and it's great for the kid too.
It is. I mean, Rob deserves it. I say it every week on here, but every single person I talk to within the program, whether it's a player or a coach, he works hard. He's humble. Everybody loves him. He makes the grades, and he performs on Friday nights. So he deserves it as much as anybody.
This is another tweet he put out. He said, leads the state in rushing in Georgia, went for 448 last week. He says, AUB and Northern Illinois both reached out this week. Big time sleeper in Northwest Georgia.
Good deal. Well, good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes, sir. I'm not real sure when everybody else is going to show, but I'm going to go ahead and get into a couple more last week's games. Yep. Bowden, the only team to defeat Trine this year, took it to Commerce 35-0. These scores on the bottom are from Saturday from the 1A and 5A victors. I could pull up the losing teams as well, but we'll talk about the victors tonight, even though some of the losing teams had great seasons.
They did, and just real quick in 6A, I think Mount Zion lost about 30-0, but they did have a good year. And then Gordon Lee seemed like they put up a pretty good fight against Washington Wilkes, at least for the first 2 or 3 quarters. I think Washington Wilkes put away at the end, and then obviously Bowden, I think, with a 35-0 victory over Commerce. So
Yeah, that there were a bunch of close games throughout all of the Northwest Georgia teams. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the bracket up so I can look at that, because I mean it's worth talking about. The kids put a lot into it, so
yep.
Let's see here.
Beautiful.
Excuse me. I'm gonna use the Max Preps bracket because it's better. Darlington was the only team out of their region, I believe, to move on to the second round. They beat, as it shows, Hebron Christian 42-17. They'll face off against Tatnall Square this week. The other teams from Darlington's region, North Cobb was beat by Holy Innocents 32-0, and that's not terrible. Holy Innocents has been one of those teams that's dominated for a while.
Yep.
Let's see here.
I don't know a whole lot about Holy Innocents as far as just their personnel or, what all they've done throughout this season. But yes, they are a pretty good football team year in and year out.
Here's another one of these close ones that we had from that region. Christian Heritage went down to Westland and lost 21-14. Westland's normally a single A power.
Yep.
Also, Kings Ridge is Kings Ridge. No, Mount Parham is in their region. Excuse me,
Yes.
Mount Parham. They lost to Mount Vernon in the 2-3 matchup, 14-7. That was a close one.
Yeah, it was. It was.
On my
And
pick,
you're right about what you're right about Wesleyan. They Wesleyan's another one of those teams that year in, year out, they're a good team. A couple years ago when Cole was a sophomore at Chattooga, we went down to Wesleyan and played the regular season game. And actually we played them a fairly close ball game. And I think they went on to lose in the state championship game that year.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was saying, Mount Vernon beat Mount Parham 14-7. And that was basically a pick'em game. I had the Northwest Georgia football playoff pick'em, and it was about 50-50 on that, and it went Mount Vernon's way. Flip over to the brackets in single A public. Look at the local region here. Mount Zion was defeated by Lincoln County, what we talked about, 36-0.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Trine with the 55-21 victory over Social Circle, and they'll meet Wilcox County at Wilcox County. We'll talk about that more here in just a few. We already mentioned Bowden with a 35-0 win over Commerce. They will meet Turner County, and that's somebody that Trine's got some familiarity with a few years ago.
If I'm not mistaken,
that was another
one of the
game.
If I'm not mistaken, and this is going back a ways, but if I'm not mistaken, Trine had the biggest comeback in their history, or at least their playoff history, against Turner County about 20 years ago or so.
Man, I just remember the Turner County game about 3, 4, 5 years ago. I don't know exactly how far. It was in the last 5 years. Trine went to Turner County, and it was interesting.
Yep.
Also, some more scores. Gordon Lee was defeated by Washington Wilkes, 28-7, and that was, for a 1-4 matchup, that was a good.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Gordon Lee kept it close for the first, 2.5 quarters, and then Washington Wilkes pulled away at the end there.
Moving on up to the rest of the results from 2A. Harrelson beat Chattooga 34-7. It was pretty sound. It was 21-0 at halftime, and Chattooga scored coming out of the third quarter, and that was it. 34-7 was the final. They'll move on to play Northeast. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Fannin County, big over Bremen, 45-14.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the kiddo. 45 to
that's awesome.
14, 45-14 over Bremen. And honestly, that was I did not expect that. I expected a Fannin win, but not 45-14. So that kind of opens your eyes. And they get the rematch, the two F teams, Fannin and Fitzgerald. I think Fitzgerald's the team that put Fannin out last year. And they'll want some, we'll talk about that.
Where's that game at?
That will be in Fannin. I believe Fitzgerald was a 2 seed, and they will have to travel to the 1 seed Fannin.
Well,
game. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm not real familiar with Fitzgerald's region. I'm assuming it's probably a fairly tough region. So as a 2 seed, I'm expecting them to be a pretty good football team. But like everybody on here has said all year long, Fannin County is a tough place to go play.
Yeah, and it's a tough team to deal with. We've seen that, every game. Speaking of another tough place to play and another tough team to deal with, Heard County got the 32-27 win over Dade County at Magic Morgan Stadium, and Dade was leading going into the fourth, and Heard pulled that one out. It was a good game. I believe Lawrence was at the game.
Yeah, I think so. I wish I'd have gone based off what I've heard about the game. Sounds like it was just back and forth and close all night long.
I would say that listen to what Lawrence said, but I don't know where Lawrence is right now. But we'll figure that out later. He's MIA.
Let's hear what DJ has to say about his boys down there.
Go ahead, DJ.
I do know a little bit about Fitzgerald.
All right.
Actually, one of my close buddies graduated from there, and they've been constantly ranked high in the rankings here lately. And even last year, they was a deep run team. They came back with a lot of starters, so that game versus Fannin County is going to be very interesting. We know what Fannin County brings to the table. I kind of know what they bring to the table, so it's going to be one of those. I wouldn't say like the Bremen game, but it's going to be a shootout for sure. I feel like, in my opinion, I know Fitzgerald's more of a heavy runner team, but they have big boys up front that makes it where every game they get into can be a shootout, even if they don't throw the ball. So that game is really one to keep an eye on for me in that region. And then my guys, Harrison County, they play Northeast, which everybody I've heard and talked to this week is all they've talked about is how big Northeast was. How big their boys up front are. They got. I'm pretty sure all 5 of their starting O-line is 6'4", 6'5", college D1 level O-linemen. So I feel like that's going to be a great matchup for Riley Bell and Ethan Bell on the D-line. Riley being a D1 athlete as well. So I feel like that matchup may be a matchup where Harrison County finally gets one of those tests that everybody's been waiting on. Kind of like Hart County a year ago. Hart County 2 years ago, where they had a great D-line and Harrison County had a great O-line. In Rayburn, where Rayburn had a great offense and Harrison County had a great defense. So it's one of those things where this matchup could come down to the trenches. And I know we say that every week, but this game is really going to be won in the trenches. Whoever can knock the other person off even by a yard and then get up to the next level or be able to stop the quarterback before he gets momentum. So I believe that game is going to be a great game. I'm close to Coach Peavy and all the players down there. So, just talking to them this week and Coach Peavy this week, it's been them preparing and working. And it's like, we talk about all the time about Harrison County's offense. It's hard to prepare for 6'5", 300-pounders. When you don't have that, it's hard to prepare for that, just like it's hard to prepare for an offense that you never see. So I feel like it's going to be an interesting matchup. Whichever team is able to get the upper hand and be like, okay, I figured out how to stop this or I figured out how to get through it, is going to be the team that comes out on top. So definitely a game to watch in my eyes, of course. But, you could see either a blowout or a real close game. It's either going to be a old-fashioned running-up-the-mouth football game, or it's going to be you got stopped and you can't do nothing. So,
yeah, I think I would vote A. Run it right at you.
Well, the exciting thing to me about that game, from what it sounds, is we always talk about line of scrimmage, and a lot of times in the regular season, maybe even the first round of the playoffs, one team may have a more dominant line of scrimmage than the other, but it sounds like those two teams both have a lot of, I guess, pride in playing the line of scrimmage, offensive, defensive line. Sounds like both teams have good players on offense and defensive line, so it sounds like that's going to be a really fun matchup to see who wins that battle.
Of course, you got, from my experience, I was in that offense. I was an O-lineman in that offense, So for me, I know a lot of kids I played with, some of them kids started as a freshman with me being a senior. So a lot of them kids have 4 years in that offense. A lot of them kids, take pride in what they do. Every week the O-line preaches, the more pancakes you have, the better off you are. So, you got Riley Bell, who we talked about on the defensive side. He also has D1 offers on the offensive side too, as an O-lineman. The same with Eli Salmon. He had an injury that I don't know if anybody else knows about, but so I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it secret. He had an injury with 2 games left in the season. He had to sit out a few games to get back healthy. But he has early offers from Stetson and other D1 schools have interested to visit Jacksonville State. And then you also have, Brody Sires as a center. That kid's a big center. He's physical. He's fast. So, it's going to be one of them games like he was just talking about. The trenches is everything. Who can get to the second level and make that play? Who can get that extra block to spring to play? And it's like Coach Beebe said in the interview, it's not hard to figure out the offense they run. 95.9% of the time you go to the right side. So it comes down to, I guess you say, guts and glory. I'm coming at you. You're either stopping it or you're not. So it's one of those things. Like, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. Whether you get up is on you. So I'm really going to like that matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a good one. Looking here, finished going over the 2A games from last week. Heard County, like we said, barely pulled out one, 32-27 over Dade, and they'll face Thomasville in the second round. The final team out of that region was Callaway, and they had a 29-22 win over Pepperell, and they will draw Bleckley County in the second round. Welcome, Chris.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we got you loud and clear. Did you say you was watching some basketball?
Yeah, I'm taking a break from basketball practice. We're in a little bit of a halftime of a scrimmage. It's a barn burner. It's 7 and 8 year old basketball. So it's a high scoring affair at 4-2.
I got you.
I don't know if anybody else has had to experience the joys of 7 and 8 year old basketball, but I love it. So
I get the pleasure of refereeing it, and wow.
How many travelings do you call?
You just kind of have to fill the two teams out. If both teams are capable, then you kind of call a little more. If one team is just I won't say awful. That's terrible. If one team can't get the ball down the court without walking, then you kind of have to let them walk some. I mean, they're not able to do anything unless you do. And most times when you have mismatches, the other team doesn't care. I mean, they're beating them by 20 anyway, so they don't care. I mean, I've seen some 7 and 8 teams that could put 50 on the board. It's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. So, AAA.
Yeah, that's what we were
talk about. AAA.
We were talking about some of the matchups. We did talk about some of the matchups last week, but I was going back over the scores from the good games in our area. Oconee County sneaked out one 29-22. That seems to be an often occurring score. That's interesting. Over at Daresville. Yeah. Daresville barely misses out on the second round. Ringo beats Hart County. They'll have a big matchup, and I'm sure you want to talk about here in just 1 second against Thompson.
Yep. And Rockmart and North Murray both, with some injuries. So both of them are out after the first round. And North Murray, they really drew I think is the best team in the state with the best player, Salation Straughter. He proved to me that I think he's a player of the year in AAA. I think he's got the stats to prove it.
His stats were just awful gaudy coming in, and we talked about him, last week that he would be a force, and it sounds like he was.
Yeah, and I think he played with a little bit of chip on his shoulder. I think he remembers a couple years ago, Monroe area was North Murray's first round game, and they come over and faced that 2019 team, and they kind of roughed him up a little bit. I think Ladd McConkey had a pick six like right at the beginning of the game, and Buckner and Flood had some big hits. So I think he wanted to go out and get a little payback, and the kid's good. And Monroe area is a great team. I said last week I thought if somebody was going to upset a top team, it was going to be a Daresville. Yeah. And I think that's a team that's gelling at the right time. I think they're a top 10 team, even though you won't see them in the rankings. I believe that the way they played at the end of the year, I think they were one of the best teams in the state, top 10. And, Ringgold had beat Daresville at Daresville, so that was impressive to me. Rockmart had some injuries, and they were out in the first round, but they faced an unreal 4 seed. They faced the best 4 seed in all of AAA. So we've got Ringgold left carrying the torch for 6 AAA. They've got the work cut out for them this week. They've got an undefeated 10-0, 11-0 Thompson team, or 10-0. Yeah, they played 9 regular season games. Thompson is a team that they're ranked 4th in the AJC rankings this week. I'm not for sure if Ringgold's ranked. But Thompson, it's a team that likes to score. They like to score a bunch. They've scored almost 400 points this season. They've held their opponents to under 100 points all season. So this is a team that likes to get out there and put the ball in the end zone. Their quarterback is a kid named Tay Martin, and he is fast. And he's a better runner than he is a passer. So this kid out of the backfield, he's electric to watch. I mean, he can really move the football. They've got another running back, John Tavius Curry, who has also racked up close to 1,000 yards rushing this season. So they like to run the football. And the big thing is for Ringgold is, can you duplicate? Hold on.
You're good.
Hold on.
You're good, man.
Let me turn some lights on. There we go. All right. The big thing is for Ringgold, can you duplicate that defensive performance that Jackson had against Thompson last week? They held Thompson scoreless most of the second half, and they came back. They held them overall in the game to 21 points, just over 200 yards. I don't know if anybody had a chance to read the write-up about that Jackson-Thompson game last week, but it was pretty wild. I mean, Thompson jumped out quick, 21-0, and Jackson fought their way back and tied it on the last play of the game as time ran out. They kicked the extra point to tie it at 21, but Thompson was offsides. So they, instead of declining the penalty and going to overtime, they took the yardage, half the distance, and went for 2. They didn't make it, so they lost 21-20.
Oh man,
I did not know that.
You've got to read the that's pretty wild. I mean, that's gutsy. I mean, I would have went for 2 also. I'm a go for 2, go for the win kind of guy, you know. So
Lane Kiffin
you know,
guy.
Yeah, I would have went for 2. I would have went for the win. The key to this game, I mean, you're going to see Thompson is anywhere between 7 to 14 point favorites. I'm pretty sure. I think Ringgold's got a shot. I don't believe the projections here. I think it's more evenly matched. The Tay Martin, I think you could see him playing. You might not see him leave the field. I don't think they played him as much defensively, but I think he's going to be out there every play, offense and defense. They're going to need his speed, and I think they know that. I think that's what if Tay Martin's across from Malachi Hill the whole game, I wouldn't be surprised on defense. So the biggest key for I think for Ringgold is, can you run the football like Jackson did last week in the second half? They racked up over 200 yards and 21 points. And also, can you duplicate that performance Jackson had against Thompson last week? A team that likes to score 40-some a game, and Jackson held them to 21. So I think they can do it. I like the way that the athletes match up for Ringgold to their athletes. I think they got a real good shot. It's just, can that offensive line get that push up front, and can Ringgold run that football? I think that's the big thing.
Ringgold,
are you going down the top?
No, I'm going to hopefully find it on radio somewhere local. I don't think there's going to be any TV available either.
Thompson is a 5-point favorite, by the way.
Is that Maxwell? I think Massey had it at 10 or 12.
I don't know what it is. It's whatever Lawrence pulls
Cal
up
Preps
on his website.
The Cal Prep.
Yeah.
Actually,
Cal Preps.
I think Cal Preps is different. Let's see here. Yeah, it may be Cal Preps. You may be right.
Yeah.
And Cal Preps does a pretty good job. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% sure, but I think every matchup you put on Cal Preps, unless there's a way to go about it that I don't know about, is based off playing at a neutral site.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and if Ringo can handle that travel down there, it's a long drive. I don't know when they plan on traveling, but it's about a 3-hour drive down to Augusta,
Yeah.
maybe more in a bus, and I'm sure it's not comfortable. But I think Ringgold's got a shot here. I know that they're still unranked by the AJC, and I think Thompson's ranked 4th. But I think Ringgold can go in there and do it. I think if they play with that intensity, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because you've got some real playmakers over there with Curry and Martin. If they can play with that intensity they had last week against Hart, I think they got a shot, and I like their chances. That's why I've mentioned earlier I didn't like those projections, those lines. I think it's more evenly matched. So I like the athletes that Ringgold brings on offense. I think they can put some points up.
Cal Preps has Thompson at number 5 and Ringgold at number 7.
Wow.
That's what it shows on his website here.
Well, they are ranked now.
well deserved too.
Yeah, they've had a great year.
Yeah.
And I think they still got a little bit left. I think they can go down there and have a big game. I like their chances, regardless of what the lines say here or the projections. I like Ringo's chances.
Let me boogie through the rest of these since I done started. It won't take but just a second. We'll talk about the rest of the finals from around our area last week. I know we had some games Saturday that we ain't had a chance to talk about. So if you got anything to say, just go ahead.
Yeah, I can't stay on for but a few seconds longer. I've got to get back in there. Halftime's almost over.
I figured so. Well, I mean, do you got anything else for that Ringo game? That was the one you wanted to speak about the most, correct?
Yeah, go down there and leave it on the field. I mean, you can say all the cliches and everything that you always hear every week for reporting on football, but they got to go out there and make it happen. I mean, there's a lot of people around the state that really don't know our area for football. I mean, if you talk Northwest Georgia football, I mean, they're Northwest Georgia, they're going to think girls softball or boys soccer. I think here's the time to prove them wrong. So I hope they go down there and get after it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to get back to some basketball, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, we'll see you. See you, buddy.
See ya.
Hey, he yelled at me the other night because my phone died. He told me he was getting me a phone charger for Christmas. My phone died.
Hey, I will tell you what, this program right here will kill your phone battery, no lie. But that's why I use. That's why you
gotta come into it with 100%. You gotta prepare. You gotta prepare ahead of time.
Or have it on charge. Yeah.
Well, usually it's after a game, so then I'm like 20% because I'm recording every play and pictures, and then I try to get on here and talk, and I'm like, Dad. I'm like, come on, man.
Let me finish running through these, and then we'll get to this week's game so we can get everybody. I know they don't want to be on here super long. I was at 4A. Riverdale beat Central 49-28. Cedartown was victorious over Hampton 55-14. They'll move on to face off against the Syrup Makers of Cairo. Let's see here. Northwest Woodfield was a winner over Fayette County 36-33, and they'll face a dangerous Bainbridge team. Also, Heritage was a 20-13. They were defeated by Luella 20-13. Flipping to 5A. Try to get through these real quick. Cass was 42-9. They lost to St. Pius. Also, the rest of that region, Cartersville was they beat Lithonia 51-0, and they'll face off against this could be the game of the week. Cartersville and Warner Robins in the second round. That's a big one.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be big. Calhoun was a 35-21 victor over Decatur, and they'll have Ware County. That could be equally as big. That's you talking about slobber knockers.
Yep.
Blessed Trinity.
Ware County
also,
on the road. On the road.
Yeah. Blessed Trinity is the also one of the local teams. They beat Southwest DeKalb 41-20, and they'll get Woodward Academy next week. And I know this team is not quite in our immediate area, but Villarica, we've talked about them before. They beat looks like Jackson County 42-14, and they'll move on, and they'll have Harris County in the second round. And last but not least, from our area, 6A. 6A was very interesting. Had some tough matchups. Johns Creek pulled quote unquote upset against the number 1 seed Rome Wolves, 31-27. They'll advance. Johns Creek with the victor there. Douglas County pulled the upset over Riverwood, the 1 seed from that region, 24-17. Douglas County will move on to play Northside. From the rest of the region, South Paulding, they lost to Cambridge 50-29. And Carrollton beat Creekview 47-28, and they'll play Alcovey next week. And the bracket shows that Alcovey had a bye last week, so I'm not real sure what happened there. Maybe they played a region that only had 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they I was about to say there was like one or two teams that had a first round bye. So I know
Gotcha.
that. I was about to say I know Alcovey had a bye, and then somebody in the top right bracket had a bye.
Okay. Sounds good. All righty. We'll bust this out here and talk about these pretty quick and get everybody through, because I know Charles is itching to talk about them Heard County Braves.
Yes, sir.
Tatnall Square Academy, they will be at Darlington. Now, this is an interesting matchup. I think Tatnall Square is a 2.5 point favorite over Darlington, which is the 1 seed coming from our region here. I don't know a lot about Tatnall
Be a
Square.
good game.
You know anything about Tatnall Square, Charles?
Not a whole lot, other than they put out good teams every year, but Darlington's got a good team this year. So,
well, being a 2.5 point favorite, that doesn't mean too much to me. That probably I'm not sure how they figure home and away, but it is at Darlington. I'd say that'd be more like even. I think I'd take Darlington in the quote unquote upset here. Cheer for the home team. Cheer for the Darlington Tigers.
If I'm not mistaken, home and away is just purely based off the higher seed.
At this point, unless the seeds are the same.
Yeah. I'm with you, though, Benton. I'm with you, Benton. I'm going to go. I don't know a whole lot about Tatnall Square, but I'm going to go with Patrick Shelley and home field advantage for Darlington.
Yeah, Tatnall Square is a 9-1 team, and I just don't know anything about the region they play in. Looking through the stats, they have a couple 500 to 700 yard rushers. Should be interesting. I don't see a big passing game, so it should be a very interesting game between these two. Like I said, I'd take Darlington in here.
Yeah, I definitely take Darlington. From the beginning of the year when I covered them, when they was at Bremen, me and Coach Atha, I think it's how you say it. I can't.
Yep, that's right.
Me and him's been, talking back and forth every week. Me congratulating and everything. So, I've really kind of grown close to that staff and that team. Talking to the players, talking to the coaching staff, and I believe in what they're building there. They're a great team. They have great athletes, and especially Shelley. I mean, I got to watch him in person. I didn't even know who he was, and now. Like every time I see him tweet out something or something, I'm retweeting it like, "Hey, you need to see this kid. This kid is amazing. He's phenomenal." So, I definitely take him as in when he played Bremen, he took over the whole game. The whole stat line was filled with his name. So, and I expect him to do the same thing, step up and lead them to a win.
Yeah, gotcha. and you're right, DJ. You know, they don't come any better than Coach Atha. You know, I mean, he's first class, runs a good program, and so you know, I'm going to be pulling for the Tigers on Friday night and hope they pull one out.
All right, moving on to Single A Public, and this is where we'll first see the Trine at Wilcox. Wilcox County will host the Bulldogs from Trine, and that is way down 75, right, Paul?
Yeah, it's a little south of Macon, about a 4-hour drive, I believe. So you're looking about an hour-ish south of Macon.
Yeah, Wilcox County is an 8-3 ball club with losses to Bleckley County, which is a playoff team.
Number one.
Double A playoff.
Yeah. Schley County, 35-0. Yep. And the last loss was to, I believe, one of their region foe, Dublin. I'm not sure what happened here, but Dublin beat them 49-0. I seen that and I was like, whoa, you know, it normally you don't get beat that bad, but who knows?
Well, Schley and Dublin, I'm not sure if Schley or Dublin is in their region, but Schley and Dublin are both single A schools. So
yeah.
And Dublin,
I'm not sure about that. And I also know that from what I heard last week, Wilcox played Charlton County, who was a number 4 seed. And I'm pretty sure Charlton's from one of those really tough single A regions, maybe with Irwin or Brooks County. Yep. And a lot of people were predicting Charlton to pull the upset. And they led for a little while and the game was close. And I think Wilcox pulled away in the fourth quarter.
36-26 was the final. And yeah, they did pull away late. And they have a big region, Wilcox County does. You got Dublin, Dooley County, Johnson County, Telfair, Hawkinsville is in that region as well. It's a deep region. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in the region, and over half were winning ball clubs.
Yeah, I know that Dublin team a little bit because if you date back to the scrimmages that the high schools had before the season, Hudson County scrimmaged Dublin. Dublin and Hudson County was 14-14 at halftime, and
gotcha.
And everybody talks about how good Hudson County is. So I mean, that's a great single A program right there. They had a lot of great athletes. So I could see where Wilcox struggled with that.
I got you. Well, I know it's preseason, but still, I mean, a game is a game. You get a little idea out of that.
Well, and I can say the same. Trine and Wilcox actually this summer they had an OTA down in Warner Robins. Coach Patrick from Trine is from down in that area. He actually came from Bleckley County to Trine. He was the offensive coordinator at Bleckley. And so he took Trine down to an OTA with 11 teams down there. And Wilcox was one of the teams there. Schley County was one of the teams there. And we actually scrimmaged Wilcox in that 11-on-11 OTA earlier this summer. And so, these two teams, even though it was a scrimmage and it was a OTA summer scrimmage, they're familiar with each other. So I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of between that scrimmage and then obviously watching all the film. I don't think there's going to be a ton of surprises on Friday night. I think both teams know what's coming.
Well, let me give you the line here. On the road, Trine is a 7.5-point favorite.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
I've looked at a couple different sites, and Trine is the favorite on every site. I don't always like being the favorite. Sometimes I think being the underdog is a little better role, depending on the case. But Wilcox has got some size. They've got some big boys, especially on the line of scrimmage. But I think we're going to go down there and win the football game. I really do. We've got to play. We've got to play mistake free, no turnovers, no penalties, and penalties have been plaguing us all season long. So we've got to eliminate the penalties. But I really believe we're going to go down there and get a win. And if we do, I don't want to get ahead of myself because it's a 1-week season now.
I've heard this already. I've heard this, I believe.
Yeah, if Trine can go down there and get a win, the third round game, we'll get another home game.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the
Trine's the only team that gets a home game from this area.
From this area, Trine will be the only team because of the coin toss that would get the home game. So that's very fortunate. You don't want to pass that up.
No, well, it gives you some extra motivation. Going down there this week. I mean, you've got plenty of motivation. You're in the playoffs. You're in the second round. But if you've got that opportunity to get one more game at home, that's a little added motivation.
I agree. And you got plenty of seniors that would love to have another game at home.
Yes.
All righty. I think I went too fast. No, I didn't. Okay. Turner County is at Bowden in the second round. Turner County is one of those teams that always has a ton of athletes, but so does Bowden. So I think the spread is a whopping 16-point Bowden, favored by 16 points. When you look at Turner, Turner is a 5-6 squad overall. But I'm telling you, they always have some talent on that roster.
They do.
And,
they do.
They beat Dublin in the first round 38-36. So, I mean, we just talked about how Dublin was, in the spring was right there neck and neck with Harrelson, and how they also beat that Wilcox County team 49-0. Well, they lost to Turner. So, that's just wow. I mean, I think this could be a well of a game too, but I would take Bowden. I think Bowden. I'm not sure if they're going to be at that 16-point win, but I would give them a win. What do y'all have on that?
I'm going to take Bowden by 3 touchdowns. I believe
I like
Robert, I forgot is it McNilson, the quarterback?
McNeil.
Yeah. Me and him had a chance to talk earlier in the season when they play Harrelson County. He's a character guy, a great guy. He had 6 touchdowns the week before the Harrelson County game. I asked him, what do you say to the people that talk about your stat line and your highlights and things like that? He's like, I don't even worry about that. I worry about my team. I worry about how we play as a unit. So I believe he's going to do the same thing. Him and Tanner Langley, I think is his last
Langley.
name. Yep. He picked up an offer today from Point. A great running back, and I feel like them two are just going to take over the game. Bowden, I don't know how Turner is, but no doubt I've seen Bowden play a couple times. Bowden's a great team, has everybody bought into the system, and is a great unit. I have them by 2 to 3 touchdowns.
I like it.
I'm going to go with Bowden as well. Bowden playing at home, and I'm gonna go with Bowden for a little different reason. It's not that I disagree with DJ. I like McNeil. I like Langley. I like Gage Stevens. I think they've got a lot of athletes, but I'm going to go with Bowden because of the defense.
Gotcha.
Their defense has been lights out. They shut Commerce out last week. They've slowed down everybody they played all year long. I think they held Harrelson to 14. Is that right, DJ?
Yeah. No, I think it was 14 or 14-12. I can't remember. And the thing is, Bowden had a chance to win that game at the end. But they had an overthrown pass on the 2-point conversion. So, and like I said, no dish on Bowden. Bowden is a great team. And
I agree with you. I'm just going to win them because of the defense. They're the only team all year long that has slowed us down. I mean, they stifled our offensive line and Rob Brown and slowed us down and beat us. So I'm going with Bowden because of defense.
I like it. We're going to flip on over to the 2-way bracket. And the first one here is Callaway and Bleckley County. And I believe Callaway is on the road at Bleckley.
Yeah, Blakely's the number 1 seed.
The number 1 seed out of that region. They're also 11-0 and rolling. They have a quarterback over 1,000 yards, and they also have a running back that's nearing 1,500. Mr. Butler, I can't remember his first name. Javon Butler is what it says. Close to 1,500 yards. That's going to be an interesting matchup against Callaway. We know Callaway's got the talent. I mean, that's y'all's region. Take it away, guys. What do you think? Callaway and Bleckley.
I take Bleckley.
I'll take Callaway.
Charles likes Callaway.
I take Bleckley, and I'll tell you why. And
all right, let's hear it.
Charles may agree with me, but he may not. I just feel like Callaway has too many kids that are unexperienced at the moment. Their quarterback's coming off injuries. He didn't get to play. Their quarterback came off of injury versus Hells County, was able to play, but still the indecisiveness of him and their game has been slowed. In region play, they really took a hit to their offensive power, how many points they was putting up. Their defense is iffy at times. Yes, when they want to play, they can come out and score points, but again, in the postseason and in playoffs, you can't have those moments where you put up 21 one quarter and think that's going to do you the rest of the game. Bleckley County is a good team. I've seen them on film a few times. They got a lot. The running back's a really good athlete. He makes a lot of good cuts in the hole. He's a very patient runner. He'll stay behind a lineman, 5-6 seconds, 15 yards downfield. He's still staying behind him, just for that extra blocker to get more yards. So I do think Callaway is a great team. Callaway has a lot of kids that are athletes, a lot of kids that are going to be great athletes, come their senior year. But I just don't think Callaway has enough leadership to be able to pull off a win like this.
I think they're definitely won't walk away with it, but I think Callaway can put it together enough to squeak this one out this week. I know a little bit about Bleckley County, but not a whole lot. But I think Callaway gets through this week. I'm not sure how far they get past that.
If Callaway gets through this week, they'll face the number 2 leading rusher in the state behind Mr. Rob Brown.
South Atlanta, Mr. Brown.
The guy from South Atlanta. Yes, sir.
The Brown brother.
Yes. Bleckley County, by the way, is a 6-point favorite at home over Callaway.
Yeah,
I'm going to take. Go ahead, Charles. Go ahead, Charles.
Everybody needs to watch out for that South Atlanta team because they're a lot different than the South Atlanta Heard County played week 1. They grew up after we beat them week 1, and they've been rolling ever since.
They have one loss, and that would be to y'all.
Yep.
Wow, I did not know that. I'm going to take Bleckley County in this game. I mean, I'm not sure what the talent difference is. I'm going to take Bleckley for a couple of reasons. Number 1, they're at home. Number 2, that's where our head coach came from. And number 3, that same OTA scrimmage we went to down in South Georgia this year where we played Wilcox and Schley, we also played Bleckley.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Coach Patrick took us down there for the reason of playing some good competition. And I know Cole, when he came home from that camp, was like, dude, Bleckley County is for real.
All righty. Next on the list, Heard County visiting Thomasville. Charles, what you got?
This is going to be a tough one. Can Heard County win it? Yes. That's when we line up and play the games. But for us to pull this one out, we're going to have to take our first half that we played against Central, combine it with the first half we played against Callaway, and put it together for a whole game. If we do anything short of that, playing Thomasville, I mean, Thomasville's just good. I mean, there's no way, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not sure who's going to have an answer for Thomasville, but I mean, we just darn near had to play a perfect game, and not make some of the mental mistakes we've made with a lot of our younger players. But so we'll see. I'm definitely making the trip. I already got the hotel reserved and everything, so I don't miss a Heard game. I don't care who we're playing, and we are undefeated in Thomasville. We went down there in 17 and beat them when nobody thought we could. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, I just hope we play hard and good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. My stat line for this game is going to be a turnover. Heard County has one turnover, and I think that's all they can. You've seen it in the Auburn-Samford game, as I could say. You stuck right there until somebody had a turnover. I feel like this game's going to be that same way. The first team to get a turnover is going to be a team that wins it. Thomas was a great. Heard County's a great team. I love Heard County. I love their athletes. They got a great O-line. They got a great athlete, and Eccles. And so, I mean, they can sit there and play with Thomasville all day. It's just going to be the mental mistakes that Charles was talking about. That if they make the mental mistakes and they're out of it come, the first quarter, then that's going to be a tough game for them.
I heard somebody pop up. Looks like
I'm gonna take Thomasville as well, and I'm basing this just strictly off of their history of being a really solid football team, being a number one seed. It's not that I don't think Heard County can pull it off. I hope they do pull it off, but if on our playoff pick'em sheet this week, I'm taking Thomasville just because I feel like it's the safe bet.
Oh yeah, if I had money on it,
don't bet against your team, boss.
Hey, I'm about to say, Charles, don't say nothing.
Thomasville, and I was looking through their roster, man, and I just saw a name that looked familiar to the Northwest Georgia area, and I'm doing a little quick search, and the name was Shaneen White, and it is definitely familiar. Shaneen White was a quarterback at Pepperell, it looks like, a few years ago, and he's transferred, and he's at Thomasville now as a senior, over 1,000-yard passing, and Thomasville is, according to Cal Preps, which doesn't mean squat, I'd say, is a 32-point favorite over Heard County. I don't see that at all.
I don't see that. I see it as a 14 10-point game, maybe.
Too much. Heard's got too much talent for them to run away that much, I believe.
And Heard County's been through the gauntlet, just like any of that region teams.
True.
Every team in that region has been through the gauntlet of great teams. So it's not a matter of the competition. It's the matter of the mental, how the players are going to play the game.
I agree with you. I agree with you, DJ. I think playing in that region prepares these teams for the playoffs. If you play in a region where you're playing that kind of competition week in and week out, when you get to the playoffs, even if you're a little outmatched, even if you're an underdog, even if you're on the road, it still gives you a chance. Yeah,
you're already battle tested. You ain't got to worry about how your team's going to prevail on 4th and 10 with 3 seconds left in the game. You know that your team's going to be there and hit somebody in the mouth. So
the winner of this game, just foreshadowing a little bit, will have the luxury of facing the winner of the Rayburn County Jeff Davis game. Rayburn County scored 552 points this year. Wow. Anyway,
Gunner Stockton.
I got to see Rayburn County last year, first round of state playoffs when he beat Health County 35-7. So
I got you. Yep.
Yeah, that Gunner Stockton is something else.
Speaking of Haralson County,
we talked about this already, but like I said, Northeast is a great team. All you hear from some of the Haralson County guys this week is how big they are. But it's one of those things where it's going to be the same kind of thing that I was saying with Heard County. Haralson County has the talent. Haralson County has the players to get it done. It's going to be one of them things where you can't over. What's the word? You can't make it a bigger game than what it is. It's just another football game. Of course, it's the playoffs, but it's another opponent in the way. You can't that'd be like a few years ago, my senior year, you played Calhoun, and you knew what Calhoun was bringing to the table, and you always try to play better than what you were, and then that causes mistakes. In this game right here, these are both great offenses, great line of scrimmages, so this game is just going to have to be played like a regular game. If Harrison County does that, if Harrison County does that, they'll come out with a win. What I am interested in seeing, kind of going against my Rebels, is Harrison County had some turnovers last week. That is not a Harrison County thing. So I'm interested to see if that trend continues, because PV's really big on, if you lose the turnover game, you're going to lose the game. So I'm big to see if they got all that taken care of this week, and I'm ready to see this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. The turnovers, you can't have that definitely in the playoffs. And last week obviously they played a team that just couldn't take advantage of any of the turnovers. But I don't think they'll turn the ball over like they did last week. And I think Harrelson wins the game and moves on to the next round.
Yeah, and I honestly,
I agree.
Putting this out there, I honestly think Harrison County's the healthiest team right now. Harrison County had a bye week, just with a week left in the season, so that gave them pretty much one game to go into playoff play. So they're healthy, and I feel like if they bring their best, they should win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. But again, it's all going to depend about in the trenches. Everything starts there, and everything's going to end there.
By the way, Harrelson is a 5.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I'll take Harrelson on this one. And looking ahead, I take Harrelson in that bracket.
Yeah, I like that side. Fannin County.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How's it going, Tim?
I just got back from a basketball game. Sitting in a Mexican restaurant. Can y'all hear me all right?
Oh yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Hey, Brenton, if you don't mind, I'm gonna hop off real quick. My little girl's crying.
Oh, you're good, man. You're not obligated. You can go whenever you need to.
I enjoy talking to y'all. Y'all have a great night.
Yes,
See you,
sir.
DJ.
All right, DJ. Good to see you, man.
We was just getting to the Fitzgerald at Fannin. I believe you got some unfinished business with Fitzgerald after last year's.
Yeah, last year they came in here and they beat the brakes off of us. There's no way to put it. We were banged up a little bit. Luke Callaway, not many people knew, was playing with a broken foot at the time.
That would make a big difference.
But the Rebels still hung tight. And the emergence of Seth Reese, throughout the playoffs, and that game really was that carried over to the start of this season. Obviously, we knew he had that crazy pass for a touchdown, but it just wasn't enough to overcome. But this Rebel team, DJ was talking about how Harrelson County is the most healthiest it's been. Fannin County right now is very healthy, so that's definitely a plus going into this game. Cal Prep says Fitzgerald 31, Fannin County 7. Fannin County that's not going to be the score. This game is going to be a lot closer than that. Fitzgerald, they're very good. Not taking away nothing from them. They're a great football team. We saw that firsthand last year. They went to the state championship game. But Fannin County's a good football team too. Fitzgerald's going to try to control the clock, and score and play good defense. And Fannin County's going to do the same thing too. So it's going to be a great game in Blue Ridge Friday night.
I'm gonna have to. I'll have to sneak a peek at that one a few times. I'm sure you'll have it on the Rebel YouTube.
Yes, now it will be on Rebel TV. Last week's game was not on Rebel TV due to Bremen having an NFHS partnership.
I watched it on that.
Okay.
But
okay.
this week it will be on Fan Rebel TV on YouTube. So
Gotcha.
you'll be able to tune in live on that one and see the Florida commit EJ Lightsey, and you'll see the newest Air Force offer Seth Reese go one-on-one. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, awesome to see Seth Reese get that offer. By the way, too, that's pretty cool.
To my understanding, he has other offers. It's really not been made public. Correct?
He has other offers. Yeah. That one is obviously the big one.
Yeah.
There's going to be some more to come. So, but just happy for him. If you know his family and you know him, you couldn't be more happier for a kid. Just works hard. Great kid on and off the field, and what he's done this year, in honoring Jackson Davis, who, went out earlier in the year, and it's been awesome. Actually, Georgia Public Broadcasting's actually coming. GPB's coming tomorrow to do a story on Seth Reese and Jackson Davis and what that's kind of meant. So it's going to be cool to see that. But I just so happy for him. But I'm happy for the whole team, man. This is, this ain't just the Seth Reese show. This is a football team, who is the only class in school history to make the playoffs 4 years in a row.
Oh wow!
So this game is not going to be too big for them. They're ready for it.
I agree.
And
I agree.
I don't know where the stats are or where he gets this information, but I'm reading off of Lawrence's website, and he has Fitzgerald as a 14.5-point favorite. So,
yeah,
that's better than the other one from Cal Preps. I don't know. That may be a match.
Well, I think that's with the Massey ratings of Phantom being at
Massey.
home.
Gotcha.
So,
well, I allude to this every week, guys. But again, props to Lawrence for what he's created here, because I love this community that we have now, to where everybody knows a little bit more about everybody than they used to know, and it makes it so much easier to pull for a guy from Trine, Suga County guy, 6A, 7. It makes it easier for me to pull for Harrison County, Fannin County, those players, those coaches, because you know so much more about these guys now than you did just 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it allows you to kind of get to know these teams, these players, and these coaches, and it gives you a reason to pull for the kids to get offers, for the kids to win games, advance in the playoffs. I mean, it just makes the whole high school football sport in this area more fun to follow.
Yeah. Well, Lawrence Morgan's the man. I'll tell you what, you guys have no clue how many people watch these shows.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on YouTube. Like, what Lawrence has done, created this platform, is exposing so many kids, getting kids offers. I would like to know how many people the Northwest Georgia Football Count has actually got offers for.
I don't know, but I know we're on a couple different Facebooks, a couple different YouTubes. We have, of course, our Twitter live, and we're also on Twitch. If anybody has a Twitch account, we are live on Twitch.
What the heck is Twitch?
It's just another platform that you can stream live videos and people can go on and watch. It's mostly gaming stuff, but you're trying to reach everybody, so you just throw it out there. It's under sports. If you go on Twitch, you can probably pull it up. Sports Talk.
Benton, I'm going to jump off.
All right.
Again, like I said last week, once we get above AA, maybe AAA, we're getting out of my area of expertise. But I want to say something real quick before I get off here. I grew up in Summerville. My parents went to school at Chattooga. Cole went to school at Chattooga for a while. And I want to give a shout out to some Chattooga Indians, their coaching staff, their players, especially LaShawn Lester, Rowan Burdick, and some of those guys. I've known those kids since they were little, helped coach them when they were kids. And, I hate their season's over, but I'm proud of them. And I wish the best for them in the future, going forward.
And I'm sure they all appreciate that. And I appreciate it.
And
too.
Xander Cook. I don't want to leave Xander out either. I mean, I don't want to leave anybody out. But those three are three that I've known since they were 6 or 7 years old. And, I look forward to following their careers as they move forward to the collegiate level.
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys have a great rest of the show. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Paul.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Let me weigh in on that Fannin Fitzgerald game real quick before you go to triple.
Go right ahead.
My prediction for Friday night with that game is Fitzgerald comes up there sleeping on Fannin after last year's game.
I got you. That makes sense.
And Fannin jumps up on him and holds them off in the end, pulling off a one or 2 point game.
I think anybody in Fannin would take that.
And I am a huge Seth Reese fan. last year when we played them and they beat us. But I just watching Seth in that game, I was blown away and hit up his Twitter the next day and started following him and sharing his videos.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this, man. It's been a couple years back when they first come into 7AA. Me and Lawrence was like, "What's this team all about? You know, what kind of players does this team have?" Because some of the people were picking them to win the region. Some people picked them second the first year, and I believe Seth was wearing number 5 at that time. And at halftime, we went to meet Tim for the first time. And when we got down there, the only thing we could say, I mean, yes, they had other players that were good, but we were like, "Who's that number 5?" Because he stood out. He stood out on defense. He was lighting people up, and when he carried the ball, he couldn't bring him down. And I think the guy Harrelson reminds me a lot of him, except for just a little thicker. He was just breaking tackles, and when he got out in the open, he was striding out pretty good too. He was moving for a big guy. So, I like Fannin. I hope Fannin wins the game. I'd love to see Fannin go to the next round.
Yeah, anytime those Region 1 guys can get knocked off is a good day.
AAA. We only have, I believe, one local school from AAA that moved on, and that's Ringo, and they got Thompson. And we talked about a little bit earlier. They talked. Let's see here. Who was it? It was Chris that talked about a little bit earlier this game. Thompson's kind of a tough matchup for Ringo, but he likes their chances. I believe Ringo is a 5-point underdog to Thompson, which is not bad. Thompson is a team that is undefeated in their region, and also in the non-region they're undefeated. They have wins over the likes of, man, I don't know any of these teams. Jefferson County, I know. I don't know any of these teams they play. So let's look at their stat lines and see if they got anything that jumps out. Looks like they played 2 different quarterbacks. They both have about 1,000 yards combined. Then they have about 3 running backs that have over 500 yards. So they moved the ball around a little bit. It seems like you don't quite know who's going to do damage. I think with Ringo's, they can have a bunch of seniors. Ringo is good defensively, and they can score some points. Now, I think they'll hang around with Thompson for sure. I'd love to see Ringo, keep Northwest Georgia in that 3A race and move on to the next round. Got anything on Ringo?
No, little out of my area.
I got you. It's a little north, ain't it? Flip on the 4A, moving through them pretty quick because there's only limited teams left. Cairo is at Cedartown. Cedartown was the number 1 seed out of their region up here in Northwest Georgia. Probably, I wouldn't say they're the favorite in 4A, but they're probably up there in the top 5, I would say. They're 9-1, and their only loss, I believe, was to a pretty good team. Let's see here.
They lit us up when we played them. We couldn't do a thing against them.
Defense is pretty good, and they also have, I believe, Harlem Diamonds, one of their running backs. They lost to Calhoun 31-7, and we were actually shocked by that result. At that time, we were like, man, Calhoun's going to be, because Calhoun had just came off of their loss to McCauley, Tennessee, which is a powerhouse in Tennessee. And they come back and they beat Cedartown. And, Cedartown's got the Georgia commit, and I don't think he's ran the ball. C.J. Washington, I don't think he's ran the ball that much.
He ran it a good bit against us, but I mean they're mixing it up.
Yeah, they only have 74 carries on the year.
I think everybody had about 100 yards against us.
Yeah, Harlem Diamond is a guy that I remember him when he was a kid. I used to see YouTube videos when he was maybe a middle schooler or in rec league, and they always talked about he was going to be the next thing, and he's close to 1,000 yards rushing this year. He's averaging 113 yards a game that he's played in. So I think Cedartown wins this game on defense and in the run game, and they'll move on to the next round. And let's see here, who else is Northwest Woodfield, which is no, I wouldn't say a surprise team, went over Fayette County, but they won 36-33, and they're facing a tough Bainbridge team on the road at Bainbridge. Bainbridge is 8-3, but I did some looking earlier, and they do have some. They have a quarterback that's threw for nearly 2,000 yards, and his name is Bo Smith. He also can run the ball. Bo can run the ball a little bit. He's got some rushing yards to go along with about 3 other guys. They throw the ball a good bit, but I still think that I think Northwest is going to hang in there. I think Northwest can throw the ball enough. I don't know what. Let's see what the spread is on this Northwest game here. Wow, Northwest is a 26-point underdog against a 8-3 Bainbridge team. I just don't know enough about Bainbridge to to make any assumptions. I know their losses are to Ware County, which I know is a good team. They have a win over Cairo, that's a playoff team. They lost to Thomasville, and they also lost to Coffee County. You know anything about Bainbridge?
No.
No, me neither. I'm going to have to a 26-point favorite, though. I think I'd have to go with Bainbridge on that one.
That's the only thing I know is that's the closest I could find me a hotel room for Friday night to Thomas.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So 5A, and this is really the meat. I think we have 3 5A schools, maybe 4 from this area that made it on, if you're including Villarica. Calhoun, like we talked about earlier, has a big-time matchup against Ware County. Ware is one of those teams. The Ware County Calhoun and the Warner Robins Cartersville, that's going to be 2 just absolute great games. Calhoun's 9-2, Ware County's 9-1. Ware County, Max Prep has them at number 2 in 5A, and Calhoun is at number 6. And Ware County is the number 9 ranked team in the state, all classifications. I don't know if Calhoun has enough on the road at Ware County. I would probably pick Ware County in that one. Like I said before, though, I hope the home teams or the local teams win. But I would have to, be sensible and go with Ware County. And Ware County is favored by 16.5 on that particular game. Moving on to the next one. Blessed Trinity. I believe that's the next game. Yes, it is. Blessed Trinity is at Woodward Academy. BT is probably one of the better 3 seeds that you'll see in the playoffs in general.
Definitely.
5A. The region they play in is pretty stiff. And I would say it's a 7-4 team that you don't want to play, even though the Woodward War Eagles are 11-0. Blessed Trinity's only losses are coming to schools like Cartersville, Calhoun. They actually have 4 losses. They lost to Marist, which is a big school, St. Pius. They also lost to Calhoun and Cartersville. So there's your 4 losses. Who doesn't lose to those schools, though? Let's just be honest. And when you look at the matchup, as far as the spread goes, Where's it at? Oh, he doesn't have it on here. I'd have to look it up right here. BT Woodward Academy is favored by 20. 20-point favorite, Woodward Academy.
I think that'd be closer, but I mean, I see Woodward winning it, but it's not going to be a cakewalk like that.
I agree. I think Woodward wins the game, but I think J.C. French and the big running back that they have down there at BT is enough to keep them close. And I'd say Woodward moves on, but it's in a close one. Warner Robins, Cartersville. If you want to circle a game, man, you're talking about a game right here. I think this could be everything that anybody would want to watch. Warner Robins is 10-1. Cartersville sitting undefeated. Warner Robins' only loss was to Ware County, which we've already talked about, is in the playoffs. A really good playoff team. They got Calhoun this week. Cartersville's Cartersville. They keep rolling. They're number 4 in the class, number 11 in the state of Georgia. Warner Robins is ranked as the number 1 team in 5A and the number 4 team in Georgia. But man, you're talking about teams that average a lot of points. I don't know. I might have to watch some of this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick that game. I mean that's a toss up.
I'm looking right here at the points. It has Warner Robins a 7.5-point favorite, so just over a touchdown. Man, I want to pick Cartersville so bad. It's a tough one, man. I'm going to stick with Cartersville, but I think it's going to be a really close game, like last possession style game. If you turn the ball over, you probably lose. And then the last one I threw on here, last one from 5A, Harris County at Villa Rica. I threw this one on here because we had some Villa Rica fans asked about it, and I figured Lawrence would talk about it, but I can look it up. But that's about all you're getting from me on these two schools. Go ahead.
I know Coach Barron got plenty of experience with him. He's got Villa Rica clicking on all cylinders. Right now, they started off a little rough. Had a rough go with Rockmart early in the season. I was at that game, but I think they could have beat Rockmart. They just started off just offbeat with Rockmart and started getting it together later.
That was 28-21. Yeah.
Yeah. But Barron's got the team clicking right now. So I definitely take Villa Rica on this one.
Yeah, Harris County is a 7-4 team. They went 4-2 in their region. They do have a quarterback by the name of Cooper Corey, and Cooper Corey has over 2,200 yards passing. So I'm not sure what kind of passing game Villa Rica has seen so far, but they also have two different teams with over 700 yards, or two different rushers with over 700 yards rushing. So they can do a little bit of everything. I think Villa Rica might can handle that. Let me look at the line here and see what the pick is. Let's see. Go ahead, man. That's fine. Villa Rica is a 3-point favorite. And I think I go with Villa Rica. I remember going to Villa Rica back in the day, and they were always a dominant team when they were back in single A. last but not least, you got 6A. Only one team that was in the three-way tie for first made it to the second round. Unfortunately, the rest of the local teams are put out. Carrollton has, and I would say this is Alcovy. Just saying it how it's spelled. It looks like the Missouri Tiger headgear. But Alcovy is a team in 6A that I believe Carrollton should be able to beat. Looking at the favorites, Alcovy is a 21-point underdog. So Carrollton is a 21-point favorite going into the Carrollton-Alcovy game. And Alcovy is coming in with a 5-4 record. 5-4 as the number one seed, it says, from their region. They did get a bye in the first round, so they have not played in a week or so. They did go 5-0 in their region. Their region consists of Alcovy, Evans, Lakeside, Grovetown, Heritage, and Rockdale County. They beat Evans, and Evans is a 9-2 team. And Alcovy advances with the first round bye. So I look for Carrollton to carry the day on that game and move to the next round to face the winner of Westlake and Kennesaw Mountain. Charles had to step out for a second. I'm going to go through some of these. That was all the games that we have this week. Let me look through some of these comments over here and see if I can answer. It says, where's DJ? DJ had to hop off. He, I think something with his daughter. He was having to show her a little attention. So, said Northeast Macon has 3 offensive linemen that are 6'6". That's going to be an interesting matchup. Northeast Macon and Haralson County. And the spread on the Haralson County game is Haralson's favored by 5.5 over Northeast Macon, if you're still on and listening. And I agree with DJ Pollard. If Tryon goes down and beats Wilcox, I like their chances for another week. I agree with that. I think their matchup going forward, if they was to beat Wilcox, would be against the winner of Manchester and McIntosh County Academy. And those two teams are not bad teams, but they both have 4 losses. McIntosh is 6-4-1, and the Blue Devils of Manchester 6-4. So they're both beatable teams. Both would be currently ranked lower than Tryon would. So Tryon takes care of business. Favorable matchup in the next round at home, and they could be looking at a big year. Final 4 possible matchup would shoot you up against one of the big time schools down there. Charles, I got done with the last game there, and go Rebels. I like it. Hey, Charles is in and out. I'm just going to go through some of the schools here. I'll blow it up, so if anybody's still watching or if they come back and watch. This is the projected regions. Keep in mind, I'll put a little disclaimer out here that the schools are still eligible to send in, a formal request for change, whatever you want to say, change of region. The classifications are pretty much set, but the regions can be filed for a change up until Wednesday, I think around lunch or something like that. So this is the current setup. The schools that are in our area will pretty much stay the same. On the private division, you got Christian Heritage, Darlington, Mount Parn Christian, and North Cobb Christian. Here in the 7A 5 private, that's basically the same. When you go to A public, our region up here, you got Armurchie that play football. You have Armurchie, Bowden. Go down here, Gordon Lee, Mountain Zion, Carroll, and Trine. So you got 5 schools there. The other schools here do not play. They do not play football, and most of them don't play many sports. But you might have some that play sports like basketball or baseball. As far as any of the other teams around here, I don't see any of the other teams in any other regions. It's mostly 6A public. AA is where it gets kind of interesting, or starts getting interesting. If you notice here in 5AA, Rockmart drops down from 3A and they'll go to 5AA. I'm hearing there's been no appeal there. So Callaway, Harrelson, Hurd, Rockmart, and Temple be a heck of a region going forward in 5AA. Not that it ain't already, but basically Rockmart and Bremen have swapped places. Bremen goes to AAA and they'll take Rockmart's spot, and Rockmart comes down to 5AA. In 7AA, you look here, you got Chattooga, Coosa, Dade, Dalton Academy, which is a school over in Dalton. It says it's not labeled that they do not play football, but I don't remember them ever playing football. But maybe they're looking at starting a team. I'm not sure. Don't think so. Gordon Central, Model, and Pepperell. If you notice, one name missing right here, Fannin County, is listed over in the 8AA. I'm pretty sure you're going to see an appeal to play in 7AA for Fannin, and I don't have any reasons why they wouldn't get approved. So you'll most likely see Fannin back in 7AA unless the GHSA decides not to allow that, and you never know with them. 3A was the messiest because they added some teams in South Georgia, so they kind of change up and sent some teams packing. We had some 9-team regions. We still got some big regions. 6 AAA is going to gather most of the teams in our coverage area. Adairsville stays. You got Bremen coming in from 2A, Coahuila Creek, Lafayette, LFO, Murray County, North Murray. They're all staying in the same region. Ridgeland will drop down from 4A, and they'll join the 6 AAA group. And Ringo will also stay in 6 AAA. The teams that were booted out, Gilmer will be in 7 AAA. Pickens will leave the 6 AAA region, and they will go Pickens will drop from 4A and go down to 7 AAA, and they'll play in the same region with Stevens County and Hart County, Dawson County. Good region there. Be tough for Pickens, but they got a really good team that's going to be coming back, young squad next year, so they'll contend for a playoff spot in that region. Quad A. Quad A is pretty much similar to what it was. You're going to see 7 Quad A here: Cedartown, Central Carroll, Heritage Catoosa, Northwest Woodfield, Sonoraville will move to Quad A out of that 6 AAA region, and then you have Southeast Woodfield. I believe Southeast moved down from 5A, and they'll classify in that 7 4A region here. Looking at 5A, you're going to have Calhoun will stay there, Cartersville, Cass, Dalton, Hiram, Villarica, and Woodland of Cartersville. So you have a couple new ones, a couple that stay and put. Should be a very interesting region. If you notice, a team missing from the current region is going to be in your next classification here. And no, they're not. I think they're actually going to be playing up. Anyway, South Paulding is going to move to the 5-6A. So you see South Paulding over here, along with the rest of the Paulding County schools. Douglas County also moves to the 5-6A. Rome, if you notice, moves to the 6-6A, which is Altoona, Creekview, Etowah, River Ridge. I'm not sure if there's going to be any appeal on any of these. I haven't heard anything on that. And then the 7-5A, your Johns Creek, Pope, Sprayberry, Blessed Trinity moves up, and they'll be in that. I mean, not 5A, 6A. They'll move up and be in that 6A group as well. You don't see Carrollton in the 5 or 6A because they're moving to 7A. And I did not pull the 7AA log, so you'll see them in one of those regions. All righty. If you were coming looking for Lawrence tonight, I was doing the same, but I guess he had something come up. I'm sure there's a good reason why he's not been on. Sorry if I'm boring you to death with all my slides here, but I think I'm going to hop off, and we will see you Friday night when we do the Northwest Georgia High School football scoreboard. If your team is out of the playoffs, if your team is still in the playoffs, doesn't matter. We could post the link. Join us. Come on. Join us live. Talk about your team. Talk about the team you're cheering for. Whether you win or you lost. We've had some coaches come on. We invite all the coaches to come on, and you can talk about your school, other schools, anything, as long as you stay, within the rules. As long as you ain't wearing no crazy clothing like that singlet that DJ's trying to throw on and come on here, but I don't want no part of that. But anyway, appreciate you listening, and we'll be back Friday night.